Hi everyone. Today I'm in my studio and I'm actually have a group of students here and we are learning how to paint flowers from imagination and also from a still life, and I am just toning my background with a cadmium yellow paint to get started. So we started the workshop by doing some sketches and studies and some contour line drawing as well, just to loosen up. And now we're starting our paintings. My study is off to the side and I'm going to just quickly block in my drawing using paint on a liner brush. Now you'll notice that when you draw in a vase and you want to put water, that you want to make the bottom of the vase and the water area, you want to make it oval looking rather than flat. So this is just a preliminary drawing and I'm putting my table in on a bit of a slant. We're going to be using the Rembrandt lighting model for this, so a dark side, a light side, and a dark, and then back to light. Here you see me mixing up some paint, and I'm using a primary palette of phthalo blue, cad yellow, and cad red. Titanium white. So I want to make some greens that look fresh and natural and make some variations of my colors, yellows to peach to orange to red. So I'm going to get some mixed up. I'm not mixing up as much paint as I normally do just because I'm going to be working on this off and on in between helping students. Here you see me mixing a tint up. A tint is when you add white to a color. I'm just going to use a sea sponge to quickly sponge in some shapes that are a little bit flower looking. This is going to give me a start to my painting. Now when you're doing this, you want to be careful that you don't overblend your colors, especially if you're using opposites. When you use opposites, that is how you can create a neutral, or if it's a color that you didn't want, it's what artists normally refer to as mud. You see me putting in some paint on the vase and I'm trying to get the light side painted in here. Placing a few stems coming down the center line. And again, this is just blocking in. So this is going to be the dark side of my vase. Remember to keep the area where your water is in an oval shape. I'm adding dark on this side, and this is negative painting, where I'm painting in and around my flower shapes. So trying to give them a little bit of an organic feel as I paint in with my dark paint. I've mixed up a tint of phthalo blue with white in it, and I'm going to put the light color on this side of the canvas. Again, painting my shapes to feel organic and not totally covering up all the yellow. I want some of that yellow to peek through, especially on this first layer. This won't be the only time I paint the background perhaps, so I don't want to do a solid covering. I'm just quickly blocking my painting in at this stage. Putting in a lighter color down below on the table area. And this may all change later. I may decide that I want the table to be patterned with a stencil or be a different color altogether. I'm also going to block in my shadow. Now I'm going to start going back in and building up some texture and some more color in places. Start to get my flower shapes to look more like flowers. And I'm painting from imagination. I'm not using the flower references or photo reference, but I am using the study I made as a guide. Putting in some white in places, and I am working wet and wet, so I will be getting blending right on the canvas. Today I didn't have a canvas to work on, so I stretched some canvas that I had over a panel. So I'm working on a hard surface with canvas on top. It has a different feel. You lose all the bounce of the canvas this way, and it's great if you want to get aggressive or if you want to sand back. You have that hard surface, so it's just something I'm trying. You can see me now adding some color, so not just using the reductive technique, but also adding on top of that background and extending my bouquet out. Keeping loose by holding my brush near the end. Putting in a little bit of darks to indicate centers of flowers. One of my goals and objectives is always to paint looser and less realistic, but just giving the impression. And this is what I hear from a lot of students where they want to take their work. And I've developed a guide for you, 7 tips to paint looser. And if you would like to get that guide, you can find the link below in the description to sign up for the guide, and there's 7 tips in it that will help you to loosen up your style. Here you see me coloring back in with a woody Stabilo. I like making marks into my work and coloring onto the dark areas. Now going back in, adding some more color, trying to refine some shapes. Again, working with my brush very loosely and standing back from my work, not getting too close up. One of the things I see students doing often is holding their paintbrush like a pencil very close to the ferrule, and this way you're going to develop a tight style. So if you want to work looser, you want to make sure to hold your brush at a distance. I like using the the liner brush to get some smaller marks and bits of outline in my work. So that's what you see me doing, just quickly working my whole painting, adding some squiggles and marks around. Not really outlining, but just loosely giving that sense. Coming back into the water. Defining my shapes a little bit more with the background color. By painting the whole painting at once, like not staying in one place, but moving your brush around with different colors, you're going to get a nice unified painting, and it's not going to feel like it's half and half or too much of one color on one side. The other thing, you do want to try and determine if your painting is going to be a warm or a cool painting, and push it one way or the other. So I'm working on quite an analogous bouquet, but then I've used the opposite color for my accent. And the dark shade I didn't mention, but that isn't black. It is a dark purple that I made from the red and the blue. So I like to refer to this as a juicy black. Another way to make nice greens is to use your black and add black to your yellow. You can get some fantastic natural looking greens this way. So through the day, the students worked on their paintings, and we just continued building up layers and refining our work until most of the students got finished and did some lovely pieces. So it's always for me so enjoyable to share my knowledge and see the students have results. A little more definition in places, keeping that brush loose. Adding a few little spots of color out further onto the canvas. It felt a little bit like too much background, so just bringing some of that color out. I'm not concerned whether they're attached or have stems. I think that just the indication that there's flowers there. And I'm doing the same on the dark side, just bringing a little bit of color out onto that to break it up a bit, and putting a bit of color on the vase as well, so there's a connection between. Bringing a bit more highlights onto my bigger flower and some of the other flowers in the bouquet. So you can see that this is a real process of going back and forth and back and forth. And now you see me changing and refining my shadow. Just making it a bit darker and bigger as well. So this is probably as far as I'm going to get along in the painting today, and I might make some other adjustments, but I'm just adding a little bit of teal here, cobalt teal, straight out of the tube as my bonus color. Just putting that in a couple of places in the bouquet so that the vase relates to the flowers more. I hope that you've enjoyed my demonstration, and if you're in my local area, that you'll come by for a workshop one day. And otherwise, I'll see you online. Thanks for watching, and paint your flowers.